Chadwick's family and his wife are fighting over his money. Now, Chadwick's been deceased for about 6 years now. He married his wife, Simone, a few months ago.
There is a court document from 2022 that outlines how things are supposed to be distributed, and we are in 2026. She's wrong.
Hold on, because toxic women are exciting, and that's just a fact. If you have toxic women, just understand that all monsters are feeding off of something. And if you find out what this toxic woman is feeding off of, you can just begin to turn off.
Is Chadwick Boseman's widow one of those toxic women Katt Williams warned about? There's a new update in this family drama, and now Chadwick's fans are starting to side-eye his wife, Taylor Simone Ledward. When this news first broke last month that Chadwick's widow and his family were fighting over money, most people were on Taylor's side. She was the grieving widow, the one who stayed by his side through his cancer battle, and she married him just 6 days before he died. It was tragic, it was romantic, and everyone was saying, protect Taylor at all costs. Yeah, well, about that. Because now, some new legal details have surfaced, and the public has done a complete 180. Fans are now calling Taylor toxic. They're saying she's trying to do Chadwick's family dirty, hiding money, cutting deals behind their backs, and basically acting like she's the only person who mattered in Chadwick's life. And you know what? After reading these court documents, I hate to say it, but the family might actually have a point. So let me break down exactly what happened and why Chadwick's family wants Taylor removed as administrator of his estate.
So Derek and Kevin are asking for Ms. Boseman to be removed from the estate as the administrator and appoint Jason Rubin, who is a private professional fiduciary and forensic accountant, as the administrator of the estate.
All right, so the first thing that sticks out in this whole drama over money is that Chadwick Boseman died without a will, which is really strange because he knew for 4 years that he was terminally ill. And if he had everything set up properly, his family wouldn't be in court now, 6 years later, fighting over money and legacy with his widow. So clearly something went wrong, because when you die without a will in California, the state decides who gets your stuff. It's called intestacy law. And in 2022, a court made the call that 50% of the estate goes to Chadwick's widow, Taylor Simone Ledward, and 25% goes to each of his parents, Leroy and Carolyn Boseman. Seems fair, right? His wife gets half, his parents get the other half. Everyone should have been paid and moved on. But that's not what happened. Fast forward to July 2026, and Chadwick's parents are still waiting for their share. So Chadwick's brothers, Derek and Kevin, finally had enough, and they filed a petition in Los Angeles court, accusing Taylor of operating with a lack of transparency. They're saying she's been acting like she's the sole owner of Chadwick's legacy, cutting deals without consulting them, and taking sole control of his company. And apparently there's also a previously undisclosed bank account worth nearly $3 million that the family didn't even know existed. But the main issue is that Taylor hasn't distributed the money. And this is not a delay of a few weeks or even a few months. It's been almost 4 years since that court order said Chadwick's parents should get their share. And according to the filing, Taylor has still not distributed the estate. She reportedly hasn't even filed the paperwork to close it out. Meanwhile, Chadwick's elderly parents are still waiting for what they're legally owed. The brothers say this is causing ongoing harm to them at a vulnerable age when such support is most critical. But that's not all. Apparently, Taylor's also hiding assets. According to the filing, there are SAG-AFTRA residual payments from 2020 to the present that haven't been accounted for. There are also royalties, image rights, intellectual property rights, real estate, all allegedly unaccounted for. On top of that, the brothers' filing claims there's a previously undisclosed bank account that the family only recently learned about. The filing literally says Taylor's lack of transparency creates the appearance that she is concealing assets from decedent's family and from the court. Now let's talk about the company. Chadwick Boseman Inc. is the entity that controls Chadwick's name, image, and intellectual property, and it's split 50-50 between Taylor and his parents. But according to the brothers, Taylor's been running it like she owns the whole thing, and allegedly, she's been skipping required shareholder meetings and making deals without consulting the family. The family even negotiated a documentary deal alongside Taylor, but she then reportedly entered a separate agreement that she never showed them. The brothers' filing says, imagine flipping through the channels and stumbling on a film starring your deceased son or brother, knowing that someone you do not know or trust is profiting from his image without your input or consent. Now, people initially accused Chadwick's brothers and parents of being greedy and disrespecting his widow, but if you actually read the court documents, it doesn't sound like they're being greedy at all. They're They're not asking for more than what the court already gave them. They're just asking for what was already ordered. The parents have been waiting for 4 years to get their share, and Taylor still hasn't distributed the money like the court ordered her in 2022. So now the family wants Taylor to be removed as the administrator of Chadwick's estate. The brothers are basically saying she can't be trusted to handle this anymore, and I can't really blame them. They waited and said nothing for 4 years, and they probably tried to resolve this privately first, but clearly there's some drama behind the scenes since they had to resort to taking legal action. The brothers are now asking the court to appoint a professional fiduciary and a forensic accountant to investigate. They want an independent third party to go through everything and figure out if Taylor actually mismanaged the estate or if there's more money that she forgot to mention. They're also asking for full accounting within 30 days. They want to see exactly where all the money went, what deals she signed, and what's still outstanding. The brothers told People magazine, "Our hope is that this process brings clarity, honors the court's orders, and ensures the responsible stewardship of Chadwick's legacy for future generations." So to recap, Taylor hasn't given the parents their money. She allegedly hasn't been transparent about assets. She's running his company like a solo operation, and she's signing deals behind the family's back. And the family is not asking for more money. They're just asking for transparency and for what they're legally owed. Seems pretty reasonable to me. Now, I'm not saying Taylor's this evil monster. From the outside, it seems like she's done a pretty good job of honoring Chadwick's legacy. But when it comes to money, the timeline and the lack of transparency definitely look shady. And now a lot of fans are starting to turn against Taylor. Some of them are even calling her toxic and saying this is the type of woman Katt Williams warned about.
How do you avoid toxic women? You like women?
I do. And I probably like toxic ones more than anybody. That's because...
I asked you this.
No, hold on. Because toxic women are exciting. And that's just a fact. If you have toxic women, just understand that all monsters are feeding off of something. And if you find out what this toxic woman is feeding off of, you can just begin to turn off her feeding points. And it drives a toxic person crazy and they'll get away from you. Toxic people are trying to get things. They're not being toxic for no reason. They're gaining something out of how they operate. That's why they operate like that, because they get something. As soon as you find that out, you'll be able to cut off what they get. And they will leave.
Now, some fans are even saying that Chadwick didn't make a will because he didn't fully trust his wife. Maybe he knew that putting everything in writing would mean legally declaring exactly how much he wanted her to get. And maybe he wasn't sure he wanted her to have half. Maybe he wanted his parents to get more, but never found the right way to say it. Of course, this is just speculation. We didn't know Chadwick personally. We don't know this family. And we have no idea what kind of dynamic they had behind the scenes. But either way, it looks like more and more of Chadwick's fans are starting to side-eye his widow and siding with his family. One fan said, "Yeah, she's bugging. They have been nice, waiting 4 years to say something." And someone else wrote, "He obviously must have known something about his wife because he did not leave a will and had time to have one made." But let me know what you think about all this. Does Chadwick's family have a strong case here against Taylor? And why do you think Chadwick didn't leave a will? Leave all your theories down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.